What's up, everybody? KethKiddYoung, Keith the JB. I'm here to story time. So I remember a couple years back. I want to say a couple because it's been a couple. Life just be whatever. But a couple years back, I had sat and thought about my entire life. This was like after I had did some like medicinal therapy and some medicinal cleansing, and like I had sat down and realized that for 20 some odd years, I just been spending my entire life lying to myself, telling myself that my life would be better or it'll get better, or just being numb to the fact that I was going through a bunch of stuff. And like I figured I could shape out my life and like make a better life for myself and whatnot. But like I realized that like that's not 100% true. That's just another way of coping, I guess. Because when I really sat down and thought about it, it doesn't matter how much money I put into it. It doesn't matter how much effort I put into it. It doesn't matter like what I build and shape and whatever. I'm gonna never be able to heal fully from the stuff that like affected me. And mindset wise, I'm not gonna be able to change the way I look at those situations, whether I call them growing pains, life lessons, trials and tribulations. No matter whatever staple I put over it, it's never going to be something that never affected me in life. And even if I try to to expound upon it in a way like, okay, maybe this happened for a reason and I'm supposed to gather some type of, it don't mesh like that, like it never meshes like that. Like people will tell you it do, people give you a lot of advice. Like you just gotta, forgive and move forward. And it's like, I mean, forgiveness is not hard to do, whether it's for you or the other person or for you or for the situation. But like forgiveness is not hard, but the pain doesn't go away. The pain, it's like scars. It's like you're still gonna be affected by everything that you went through, no matter what it is. And it's like the scope of everything that I experienced shaped me. And I shook off like the negative shit that I had pulled with me. Like I can't cope the same anymore after doing the medicinal therapy and medicinal detoxing. I can't use coping mechanisms to numb myself anymore because it don't work. I fasted, I've read, I've listened to gurus. I tried to get myself into business, but then I realized business is a distraction. Like opening your own business or owning your own business is a distraction because depending on what you do, you might not be profitable for a very long time. Like you might have regulars, and if you get maybe 5 or 6 regulars or at least 10 regulars, you might be good, but your business is always dependent on the people who support you to be able to maintain in their lives. And if everybody's going through the same thing that I'm going through, and then like the ecosystem is changing in a way to tighten down on people and like make it harder to survive, eventually people are going to stop wanting or needing my services, whether it's something reliable like food, health, or beauty. Eventually, if the economy tightens down on people hard enough, I'm not going to have any customers. I'm not going to have any support. And then I'm just going to be sitting there with an out of business. And then it's like, at that point, if I do successfully have a business where I'm just doing things, the way I want to do it, without cutting corners and without like jacking anybody over or like doing anything like malicious just to stay by. And then also on top of that, having to combat people who want to blackmail me or people who want to hit me up for insurance, like all of that stuff, like it really gets me to understand that no matter what you do, life ain't always gonna be 100% like worth it. Like, not saying that you should just like knock yourself off or like, end it or whatever, but it's like continuing to live, continuing to struggle and suffer. Like, people don't really talk about it, but we legit be out here suffering. Hold on. Is the fluid low? Is it frozen? The front not? Okay. Oh wait, maybe I gotta. Nope. Yeah, so it's the back one. Where the fluid at? I'm just gonna assume that something's up. I'm gonna check it later. But it's like, I've sat and I've taken advice from every single person. I've really sat here and expounded upon their advice. I've expounded upon advice I tried to give myself. I've worked through countless jobs where it's like, all right, I'm doing this to collect money, but then at the end of the day, money really wasn't the answer. It was not. Money is never the answer. It's literally like another coping mechanism. And then the people who are really thriving in life don't even need or use money. They use labor. The people that are really thriving use labor and tax write-offs, but mostly labor, tax write-offs, and the fact that they have power. If I can give you a job, or if you're struggling so bad that coming to me for a job is your only way to get out of your struggles, I have more power over you because I can empower you. So it's like, when I'm sitting here and I'm working, or I'm cooking, or I'm writing, or I'm reading, or I'm struggling, or I'm suffering, I always end up having these thought processes where I'm thinking about all of this stuff deeply. And it's like, don't nobody want you to commit suicide. Don't nobody want you to kill yourself, because you are useful for several things. You are useful for working. You are useful for being used. You are useful for tax write-offs. You are useful for staying out the way and not making other people think. It's like the whole structure is built off of, let me put it like this. Some people's heavens are built on the backs of other people's hells. And if someone who is supporting you, or someone who is leading you, or someone who has power over you came from hell to be in heaven, they're not gonna give a goddamn about what hell you're going through. Now, let me put this to you real deeply. Your work, your effort, your energy, your essence, all of that is important. And so you living is important for your youth, and your energy. And if you have a reserve of energy that is constant, if you have a reserve of energy that's replenishable, like if you replenish yourself, you're self-replenishing, you are the most useful thing walking. And so the best thing to do is to understand that if you try to off yourself, if that's even possible, if you are even able to like die, given that you have such a replenishable source of energy, then you have to understand you're going to be protected by all means in every single way. What's going on, brother? What's this?
Let me give you one of these good old final calls, brother.
What is this?
Final call for the Messiah, brother. You passed down the final call event, brother.
Final call? God dog it. How do I keep getting, so I keep on getting these newspapers from the God dog it. I keep getting these newspapers. Like every time I'm out, I get these newspapers. It's really interesting. But the police blocking everything off. I wonder what's going on. None of my business, right? But if you are one of those people who are self-rejuvenating, you're a battery, bro. You're a battery. You're basically like the sun. Like, there is nothing I can tell you to say that, like, to help you with this. Even if you feel like the world is just like destroying you to the point where you just don't want to be here anymore, it don't even matter. Like, the way you feel, your opinions, it don't matter. And even if you have ideas where you think like you can better or change everything and like make things better, like, bro, you're gonna be locked up, dead, or shut the fuck up. I don't mean to curse. You're gonna be locked up, dead, or you're gonna be censored. Oh, cool. And like, to be honest, like, I've been talking about a lot of stuff that I've been thinking about and seeing and just sharing my thoughts. And it's like, the more I share my thoughts and the more I talk about these things, the worse off I'm being treated. And when I speak about how I'm being treated, the treatment changes from treating me badly to trying to figure out a way to distract me, or in a way like appease to me. And it's like, I'm confused because like it's like a whole bunch of chaotic rigmarole. Like, I'm being thrown through like a washing machine. It's like we must find a way to get this nigga to shut the hell up. And it's like, some people want me to speak about this stuff because they know they've experienced it, but don't want to speak out about it because they've gone through the point of no return. Like, some people experience the stuff I'm talking about firsthand, to the point where, like, even when I spoke about, you know, not wanting to live anymore, it's a possibility that, you know, let's say I don't want to live anymore and I just take a knife and I slice my throat. Let's say I bleed out and stuff. Let's say I bleed out, all my blood is gone, and, you know, I'm just an empty, hollow vessel. What if I don't actually die? What if they get me to the hospital and then, like, I'm in the hospital, don't nobody know who I am, like, I may or may not still have my identification on me, but even yet and still, nobody knows who I am. The hospital has, you know, full reign over me. They'll do whatever, you know, and they're like, what? If I have insurance, what's gonna happen then? If I have insurance, does that mean, okay, well, I can go to the hospital, get jacked up, and then if I'm in a coma or whatever, I'll just be sitting there, you know, drugged up and being, you know, given random medicines and shit? Because who has the time to come and check on me all the time? Who has the time to be there and sit with me until I wake up or get resuscitated if I don't die? Nobody. So the hospital has free reign to either fuck with me, kill me, or whatever, because ain't nobody coming to look out for me. And even if somebody does come to look out for me, what can they really do? So we got people that's been through stuff like that, and when they come back, it's like they memory jacked up, their viewpoints, their feelings, their morals have changed. Like, and it's like, some people, they go into the hospital one way and come out another. Like, and after that, you are left to assume that the person that you once knew died. Oh man, you know, Robert, you know, went to the hospital, and oh man, I ain't seen Robert since he went to the hospital. And then, like, you, like, same, like, within the same crisis, you end up bumping into somebody named Robin, and Robin just like, hey, you look real familiar. And y'all just hanging and bumping. And you like, man, you know, hey, you pretty cool, Robin. You kind of remind me of my cousin Robert. And he was a cool dude, and, you know, y'all pretty similar. Y'all got the same type of energy. You know, I mess with you. Hey, take my number down. Now you hanging with Robin, and, you know, Robin don't really know anything or what's going on, because Robin, you know, Robin has appeared like Robin, like R-O-B-I-N. Like, Robin just came out. But the thing is, Robin used to be Robert. And what happened was, got into a bad accident, went to the hospital, had insurance, but, you know, you know, all it takes is something like this. Let's say Robert went to the hospital from a bad accident. All it takes is for somebody in the hospital to switch Robert's medical information with someone's medical information who wants to do a transitional surgery, right? Right. So Robert already jacked up from an accident, and then a doctor looks at their form and say, oh, this person needs to go for transitional surgery. So now Robert is going in for transitional surgery, and, you know, boom, after bam, after the transitional surgery, Robert wakes up from the coma or whatever's going on. And then it's just like, now Robert's Robin. Robert don't even remember the accident. And then, like, everybody's coming in like, hey, what's your name? Robin? Okay, cool. The person that switched the person that switched out the medical papers can just name Robert Robin. And then, like, oh yeah, your name is Robin. Robin? Yeah, girl. I'm a girl? Oh, okay, I guess I'm a girl. And it's just like, now Robert has to live life as Robin. And since the medical, you know, surgery pretty much gives you a whole brand new whatever, all they got to do is change the, you know, change the first name, keep the last name if they, you know, whatever, don't really matter. Change the first name, keep the last name, send her off to get her paperwork and whatnot, and walk the bill. Now we got a brand new person in the world who has no memory, has to start life from scratch, from, you know, where they at, same age, different gender, different name, whole new life. And now Robert's gone. And the reason why I'm using this as a context is because before the accident that happened to Robert was doing what I'm doing. Speaking out, talking the truth and whatnot, or speaking out and talking his truth. And because of it, you know, Robert didn't have many allies. Robert didn't have many friends. And so afterwards, Robert just got turned to Robin. And now Robert is living out life as Robin. And no memory, no recollection, because like I said, accident, and also getting, you know, experimented on in the hospital. Because there's always somebody somewhere placed in a predicament or a specific place in order to exact a specific plan. You are never going to find a situation that is coincidental or accidental. Everything is placed into plans of action that other people have already orchestrated. And it just depends on how much tolerance people have for you. How much tolerance, how much love, how much faith. Like, bro, like I've experienced stuff like on a day-to-day basis. Stuff can be pretty much the same, right? You know, you get up, go to work, get up, eat something, get up. You could be living life every day, and like you could be stuck in your routine, your schedule, whatever you want to call it. You could be doing that every day, right? And life is just passing you by, and people throwing stuff at you. Oh, you got to worry about your kids. You know, you got to worry about where you're gonna live. You got to worry about paying your bill. They throw all of these problems at you that sustainably you can't manage with the way like life is. You can't manage a lot of stuff. And so it's like they're constantly throwing these things at you to pull at your heartstrings, to pull at your mind, to pull at your emotions, your energy. You constantly being thrown all types of manner of whatever. And what it usually takes is banking on you caring. And like if you don't care, like it's pretty easy to unravel everything, but because you don't care, you're not gonna do nothing about it. And if you do care, it's really easy to get lost and caught up in everything that's being thrown at you without actually ever fully like succeeding or figuring a way out. And that's usually like the point of the matter. And if you in the middle, you just sit there and be like, damn, this is a lie, this is a facade, this is a trap. And then like when you look at it, I was like, damn, because you gotta look about it and be in the mindset to understand that not only are these things prevalent, like this being a distraction, this being a setup, this being a trap, you know, this being fake. Not only is that the context of what you're experiencing, but you also have to look at the people who are participating in fabricating the event that you're experiencing. You have to look at the people, and you have to determine for yourself, like, what all went into orchestrating the circumstance? What all went into orchestrating these events? And to draw back, all of these thought processes and everything I'm explaining to you, just the thought of it, when I take it and I go back to the story, where the story started, when like, you know, I was going through my medicinal healing and my medicinal therapy. When I came back out of it, you know, I lost a little weight. All the weight that I gained over the course of my life was like supplemental weight that caused me to fluctuate in between mindsets and whatnot, because a lot of the stuff that I was eating was like, I learned now that I'm older. You know, you learn better, you do better. You learn better, you do better. And what I gained from that is that a lot of different circumstances happen to go in a weird way, and like the dietary plan that I was on as a kid was, you know, supplemented for me. You know, it was given and provided for me. And unfortunately, I learned the hard way that dietary plan that I was on was messing with my hormones, you know, like messing with my internals. And that's for everybody. Whatever you eat does have an effect on your body, and each individual item does something different. You know, if I eat too much meat, you know, it can make me anemic. My body could get too used to the meat supplementing me with iron, and so I could become anemic, which would make me, you know, inefficient to bear cold weather. Now, I can cure myself of anemia by eating the right, you know, foods and whatnot. But if I don't know that and I'm constantly eating meat, I could be, you know, at an iron deficiency because I constantly need more and more meat in order to stay warm. I'm just looking around the city because Shake Shack. The city slowly but surely evolves and upgrades, and most of the time I don't really get to see it. And so I'm really excited to be able to see stuff from time to time, and, you know, just look. Pretty nice. Really just look at it, because like a lot of these things are people who have no other choice. Like when I look at these businesses, if it's not like a fast food chain, and if it is a fast food chain, all I can see is that, like, you know, the structure of the world is becoming, you know, robotic. Like, in a sense, yeah, they say we were supposed to have robots. The robots are the people who have no brain to break free from this weird, like, forced subjugation. And yeah, I get it. If we had a whole bunch of people walking around with mindsets, thinking about everything and formulating thoughts and like having like mental breakdowns because they're remembering or thinking about stuff, like society would come to a halt. But it's like, if you can't fix it, if you can't fix it, won't prevent it, and don't care about some type of other avenue, like if it's possible that we've already had a chance to look at and break down the possibility of a healthy lifestyle and like it just didn't work, why we don't have any like documentation saying that we tried to heal our people or we tried to do things in a healthy manner, it's just it didn't work. Where's the evidence for that? You know, like why is it that we're only building everything out of pain, abuse, subjugation, blackmail? Like why is it that we're creating economies off of hurting people? Like earlier when I said most people's heavens are built off of other people's hells, why are we doing things like that? Like I want to know. Like I have questions about this because I want to know, what does it look like when you try to have like an economy or society be built off of just, you know, letting people enjoy what they find interest in? Oh, because some people might have depraved interests, like oh, I see. Okay. My brain's starting to put some things together because it's a possibility that even though some people might have innocent interests like planting and growing food or raising animals and whatnot, someone who looks at the animal and be like, hey, I want to eat that. It's like, no, I don't want you to eat my animal. I raised it from a baby. This is my child. Man, I'm hungry, but I want to try that animal. If you give me that animal, I'll give you this house that I made. Or I'll build you a barn I'll build you a better fit. That depravity. So it took me just a second to even put it. See, that's what I'm saying. Like just sitting and thinking. But like, it's all of these thought processes that made me feel like I might as well just like annex myself from existence. Because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about it because I'm trying to put myself in a place where I belong. And I'm trying to find like where I belong as a whole, because that's just me. That's like I want to be in the atmosphere. I know things aren't going to be pretty and perfect, but I want to be in the atmosphere where it's like the most problems I could have is like if I'm growing watermelons, I have too many watermelons. You know, I don't know what to do with all of them. I want to have those type of problems. I don't want to have problems of like people harassing me, people threatening me, people trying to like. I don't want to have problems where it's like I'm going to look at someone and be disappointed in like their choice of action towards me because they felt like they had no other choice. You know, stalking me, plotting on me, planning on me, you know, taking advantage. I want to be in a space where all the people that I'm around have the same mindset as me of, I don't want to be put through the wrong situation and I don't want to deal with the wrong situation. So I'm just going to, you know, try my best not to be that person. Like, I don't know if it'll be, you know, sustainable. But it's like, I can't be the only person who just want to chill. Like when I played Grand Theft Auto, right? You know, there was a time where I used to just want to, you know, hop in one of my cars and drive around, you know, go experience the stuff in Los Santos and chill, you know, whatever. You know, I drive through different neighborhoods, different areas, and excuse me. You know, I have a decent time. And then, you know, when my boys get on, hey bro, let's do this heist, man. We need some money. It's like I'm sitting around collecting $2,000 every so random often. You know, my rent paid, my mechanic paid. You know, the game just giving me free money for just chilling. And even if I do go and cause some trouble or do some random retarded stuff, it's like, it ain't nothing for me because I'm gonna die. And then when I come back to life, I pay my medical bills. And then it's like, all right, cool. You know, I can go to the gun range, but that's boring. You know, I can go online and murder somebody, but that's boring. You know, essentially it's like, I play GTA just so I can go off and drive and enjoy driving, looking at shit, maybe stopping by and letting my character partake in some drinks, or, you know, like, I could rob a gas station or a convenience store, but it's like, I'm probably gonna get like somewhere from $200 to maybe $1,000 out of robbing the convenience store or gas station, and risk getting shot by the dude, because I never really try to kill him. Like, I really just like be shaking them down, but I don't really try to kill him because I ain't really there to care. I ain't really there to hurt him. It's an option. So it's like, but then it's like, it's not really all that interesting. It's like, it's really easy to get bored of doing crime because the money will never be as much or enough or worth the problem you causing. Like, the money you make from doing crime will never be worth the problem you causing to others and yourself. That's just my 2 cents on it. And so, like, when I play GTA just to chill, you know, like, I could be a taxi driver, I could be a tow truck dude. I can get a job in GTA that's not like gonna put my reputation in the negative. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to do this no more. So now I hop on another game. I hop on Minecraft. You know, I build a house, survive, go on an adventure, kill zombies or revive zombies. You know, whatever. It's like, I didn't build everything my imagination wanted to build for today. I didn't survive. I didn't went spelunking. I didn't died in the cave and lost all my stuff and got really angry and then accepted my loss. You know, I learned to accept loss. Then I hopped on creative mode to be a god for a little bit. And it's like, okay, create a god, yeah, you know, making stuff in the sky that I couldn't really make, you know, survival without losing my life and losing my progress. But like, it's like a play god mode, you know, play, you know, mortal mode. And it's like, I enjoy myself, but move on to the next game. Next game, I'm playing Tropico. You know, I'm ruling the nation, and I'm trying to, you know, give the people like the type of like environment that I want. And I'm realizing that, you know, people are different. You know, not everyone in my little, you know, island wants the things that I want, and I can't appease every citizen because every citizen doesn't want the same things, and some citizens primarily and entirely want the things that others don't want. And so it's difficult, man. It's really difficult. And then you don't really feel like, you know, being a part of all of it. Like, I have sustained, I was able to sustain, you know, being in control over a couple of generations in Tropico. And the only thing I gained from it was that, you know, eventually I was never going to be able to make a paradise, because some people that were born on my island specifically hated the idea of having a paradise. Some people don't want paradise. And then the crazy part is, there are people that want to work, and so I gave them the jobs they wanted. There are people that don't want to work, so I gave them avenues and opportunities to not have to work. And it's like, they were never satisfied, you know. And then, like, no matter how good the healthcare was, people were dying because of like stupid stuff. You know, people with the best health, access to food, homes, medicals, like people with the access to the things that they needed to like survive and whatnot, they'd eventually get bored, get angry with my rule, and become rebels. You know, and it's like, okay, you want to become a rebel, but you know, you could have just joined the army or the military. Like, rather than become a rebel, if you wanted to like go out and do something like that, you could have just became a part of the military to protect the island. And it's like, we rarely ever saw much trouble, because I didn't really want too much trouble coming to the island, because no matter how skilled my army would be, I would still lose people. And I really was just trying to like maintain life while expanding, because yeah, some people would leave. They'd be like, all right, this is a wonderful island. I'm gonna go, you know, go visit a different place. And then they'll go visit a different place and never come back. And they'll go visit another place and die. And it's just like, it's like being a god and having that much power, control, thought processes. It's like I was hurting, because it's like, damn, I want to create this atmosphere of safety, freedom. Like, I had colleges, I had libraries, I had schools, I had all of these things that I wanted to give my people, because I wanted them to have the type of life I wanted, like opportunities to learn, opportunities to grow. But it's like the more I gave them, like the less that they could, the less that they would be able to be happy, because it's like the more I educated them, the more problems they could find in like just the bare minimum of me trying to like keep them afloat. The environmental activists, eventually they would get upset because like, oh wait a minute, the wood that we use for our houses, furniture, and everything else comes from us cutting down trees and reducing the island's like beauty. That's not cool, man. All right, cool. Grow more trees. Yeah, but what about the factories that are polluting the air purifiers? Yeah, but what about it's like, the more they knew, the more they learned. It was like, no matter what I put in place to combat the situation and whatever natural resources we had to combat the situation, it was like we never had enough, because it's like, I was their only avenue to solve the problems. They couldn't solve the problems on their own. No matter how much they knew. No matter how much they knew, I could never solve the issues for them. They could never solve the issues themselves. They always asked me. That was my role. I wish I can give them autonomy to fix the problem themselves, but their job is to learn stuff, do stuff, and when they need help, ask for it. So when they asked me for help, or they discussed or threw their opinions at me, I would sign things to legislation and I would make things happen. But the thing is, the environmentalists, their enemies are the industrialists and the economists. So if I do something for the environmentalists, I'm losing respect and support from those other two factions. And mostly, like, it's all about factions. It's so many different factions, and it's like you can't you can't appease everybody, but like most people want what the other person doesn't want. And like, if I build more factories, the industrial and economists will be happy, because the island will be able to thrive, and we'll be able to make things at a faster pace. But it's like haste before waste, like we industrialize so much that the island becomes, worn out. The resources become worn out, and like all they're gonna do is make their money and then leave. It's like they don't really care, because they feel like if they're, getting to a point where they're doing better or making more, then they can like just pick up and do the same thing elsewhere. So the environmentalists who want to sustain where we live at and where we stay at, I was rooting for them just as much as I was rooting for the industrialists, because they were bringing life to the industrialists were bringing life to the island, and the environmentalists were sustaining that life. But it's like you're fighting fire with like ice, and it might be effective to some degree, as far as you may think, but it's a grease fire, it's an oil fire, it's an electric fire. So at the midst of it, it's only going to be so effective to the point where I remember coming over here. It's only going to be so effective to the point where it may eventually no longer be a good solution. It's just, I get life is supposed to be chaotic, because in order to keep everything moving, you have to have a problem and a reason to solve it. And my idealism and idealistic nature is probably causing a whole slew of issues. But at the deepest depths of my soul, I'm really passionate about that. Like, I've come up out of like, being in the streets and smoking cannabis and working and, pushing myself to, stand for like my responsibilities and whatnot. But it's like, it felt like a never-ending cycle. It always felt like I was never gonna be able to get out of that cycle, and I didn't want to stay in that cycle. Like, it was debilitating. It never felt like I was doing the right thing. It always felt like I was just doing a thing. I was working. Then I'm just like, these thought processes, this is a lot. The world, the problems of the world, my soul. Like I kept feeling like my soul was just, it was screaming out to me like, do something about this. And I'm like, cannabis, weed, marijuana, smoke that. It's like, okay. But then it was just like, it's like at a certain point, it went from, hey man, take your time, you got this, you have time to figure this out, to expanding upon and maximizing those ideals and thoughts. Like it had me thinking about stuff in so many deep layers and breaking down like all of the concepts, problems, issues, and solutions to such a high degree that man, it's like I launched myself into the future. Like most of the problems we're dealing with today, I already saw these problems. Like I done launched myself so far into like the future that like I can't even tell you how awkward it feels. Like I see something on the news and I'm like, yeah, I already knew this was gonna happen. Somebody comes to me and be like, hey man, I already thought about it. Before it even became an issue in your life, I knew you was gonna go through it just because I overthought about it at some point. Like cannabis, it hyper accelerated my overthinking to the point where I was able to predict problems that other people will go through, and like just by looking at their lives, their choices, everything, I was able to predict the ending of what they were going through. And it's like I came up with solutions, I came up with other outcomes and avenues, but because the person, that I thought about has a specific way of doing things, and also, I can't even stop my own issues. Every time I ever overthought an issue and saw different avenues, when I took those different avenues, I didn't get any solutions, like I just experienced the other half of the problem. You run out of money and it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna work to get some more. Okay. The way that you go about getting the money only satisfies the amount of money you need to get over the situation. It doesn't give you any surplus and it doesn't give you any more. And if you try to use your thought processes and your understanding of the repetitive nature of things, you don't actually get a remedy. You don't get a remedy. Like I'm looking at the laws, I'm looking at all of this stuff, and it's like some things have remedies and some things don't. Like in some situations you just supposed to go through bullshit. Trouble. Jesus. Like, yeah, some situations you're just supposed to have problems. Like even if you understand aspects, or even if you understand like how to get through a situation, you step into a whole nother issue. Like if I know how to get myself out of a problem in court, like the court issue and like whatever fees I gotta pay, if I know how to get myself out of that situation, I'm still gonna find myself going through something afterwards. Oh, I went through my court case and got out lickety split, no problem. All right, well, but you still went to court for whatever you went through. Oh, well, I was found not guilty. You still had to go to court for whatever that was. So I'm gonna leave that with you. You had to go to court for whatever that situation was, whether you were not guilty or not. And it's just like you're stuck with all. I'm just overthinking because I'm an analyst. I analyze circumstances, situations, problems, events. I analyze my life. I analyze my actions and behaviors. I'm not trying to be perfect by any means.